welcome to the Hardcore Metal Detecting Radio Show. I'm Derek Asklar. Craig Talley's on the line there. We'll be doing the hosting of the show tonight. Kind of different out there for me tonight. I'm trying some new sound stuff. Don't know whether it's coming through. Craig said it sounded better than it has, so hopefully it's working there. It's really tough trying to find the right adjustments to make on these microphones and stuff. I'm figuring that out slowly but surely. But, you know, it's the same with everything else we do, too, doing videos and you know, startup musics, you know, everything you try to do with the computer. It's always a big adventure if you're not really into computers or know how they work real good. And, you know, Craig and I, you know, over the years have picked up on stuff and try to update stuff and try to make it sound the best. Did find out that I probably need to get a new condenser mic, Craig, but you know, I think it's coming through okay anyways. I'm going to diddle with it after this weekend because I don't want to do it tomorrow because, well, I have Saturday night show to do. So I didn't think I was going to get it up there, earlier, when Craig called in, couldn't get it to link up right because I got like 3 programs working in sync and they had to sync up or something like that. But I did get out detecting 2 days ago there. I went over to that Toll Bridge property, Craig, and buddy, I am fumbuzzled about it. I was digging stuff. It was shotgun shells. I was digging 22 rounds at 6, 7, 8 inches down out in front of the Toll Bridge house there. Away from the away from the house from where I did before. I didn't want to, because they really didn't find anything around the house at all except for 1920 stuff. I'm trying to get back. This is a property that has more than 200 years of history to it. And I tell you what, Craig, it's not for lack of trying, brother. I'm just not in the right spot, I guess. I'm hitting it with everything I have, but I tell you, fighting the rain and everything didn't help too much. But, you know, I figured for sure I'd find some, you know, I don't know, I mean, buttons, something like that, you know, something of significance that's more than 100 years old, for the amount of time that property that I know, you know, people resided there and farmed the fields and that kind of thing. But I'm just guessing maybe I'm going to stick along the old stagecoach road, maybe 20 yards in from either side, just until I find some more activity or something. Because, boy, I tell you, you know, you're digging 22 rounds. That's hard enough to get for most detectors at like 4 and 5 inches, and I'm hitting them at 7 and 8. So I know I got my settings right. And, you know, I've been digging some iron on purpose just to make sure I'm not missing stuff. But, you know, the way this sand is down here, you know, it sucks stuff down in there, and it may just be so doggone deep. But I would think, you know, heck, if there was a penny or an Indian head or... I'd like to get something from the 1800s anyways out of there just to reassure myself I'm in the right spot. But, you know, we're talking about a 486 acre property. You know, where do you start at? You know, you're looking at something that size and you can detect most of it. It does have some wooded areas, but the brush is real low right now. I did try the field, but I just, you know, nothing, Greg. I don't know what you can do. I guess you don't get your coil over it. Well, you know, there's just nothing there, you know, if you don't get your coil over it. But kind of frustrating a little bit. But I'm going to try to head out there maybe tomorrow or Saturday morning and hit some different area. I'm just going to kind of look for some. I did see a couple trees that didn't look indigenous. You know, there's supposedly a plum tree grove there, stuff like that. I'm not seeing any remnants of it. I'm looking for I don't know, poles sticking out of the ground or flowers or, you know, bushes that don't look right. I'm just going to have to look a little harder, I guess, and then try to find something that doesn't, you know, that stands out. It's real difficult to sight read these areas down here. They didn't use a lot of stone. You know, it's like a mile drive back into this place, you know, on a dirt, you know, kind of like just a homemade road, stagecoach road, you can imagine. They put some fillers stuff in there, but plenty of possibilities, I guess. It is kind of toss a coin and go in a direction as near as I can tell. I mean, I'm just not seeing enough to really nothing's really standing out. It's kind of got me. It's had me kind of frustrated since I started hunting it, because I really expected to find, something of, square nails. I'm right down to digging iron, Craig. I'm down on a two on the discrimination level, and down to 7.75 on the discrimination depth. I'm running auto ground balance too. I figured, well, I'll give that a shot. Moved it down into normal mode. Tried turbo for a while, but yeah, I don't know. It just, every once in a while you hit one of these spots where you just know there has to be stuff, but unless somebody else has hit it. But even then, I should be digging something of, at least 50 years old, anyways. So yeah, it's a challenge, that's for sure. I don't mind a good challenge. I told Pauline, I said, I just want to find one good thing a day. Some kind of keeper other than a bullet. The more bullets I find are probably from the 40s. The oldest one, shotgun shells, the old paper round kind and stuff like that. So, yeah, kind of a weird couple days for me out there. But at least I'm getting out detecting. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, dodging the rain, because we've been getting bucketfuls every day, which we need it. So I'm gonna take it, right?
Yeah, I was out today. Went outside, dug one hole. All of a sudden, I looked. I can see it's getting dark, and I start looking around. I see all these clouds, and then I start the second hole. All of a sudden, I get to hear thunder.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden, it starts raining, and I had to see what was in the hole, and it was this big piece of iron, and with a bunch of screws through it. I don't know. It was down about 10 inches deep. It was right in the middle of where I found all these coins.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got that out of the ground. Now I want to get back in the house before I got the machine wet.
Well, that was like me. Pauline was laughing her butt off because I'm out in the middle of this huge pasture, and I could see the clouds coming in, and I could hear the thunder and everything. And it got to the point where I kept seeing a couple of lightning strikes probably about a mile or so off, and I'm like, you know what? I'm standing in the middle of a field with a metal detector and holding a shovel. Not the best situation to be in. So yeah, I regrettably, I spent about 2 hours out there, but it's like, kind of weighing the odds. What's my chances of getting struck in a big field? I'm like, not good. I want to get hit good. So yeah, kind of dodge the rain.
Yeah, the funny thing is about a half an hour later, the sun came out bright.
Oh yeah. Well, it was beautiful that morning. I mean, this morning was actually really nice. We're hot as Hades down here, but, mugginess, it's like a sauna out there a lot of times. But, in the morning, I got out there and, I could hear the thunder off in the distance. And it's been skirting us a little bit. Like, I could see it split, where some storm would be on the west side of me and the other part of the storm be on the east side, which is not uncommon down here in Florida. Heck, I've seen it where it's raining across the street like crazy and the sun's shining dry on my side of the road down here. It's weird. We get these storm cells come through, but it comes down in bucketfuls, and the electrical part of it what gets me, because we get a lot of lightning strikes out here. So yeah, you don't want to be.
Yeah, we've been getting quite a few out here. In fact, had one right across the alley, knocked a tree down, and the whole backyard was on fire. I was like, God. But I get this now. I'm getting on lightning strikes on my phone through this one weather app. So we had one the other day. It was I got this weird alert, and I looked and it was lightning had hit a mile from here.
Yeah. We don't even use one. We had a weather alert because we're down here in Florida. You never know when a storm pops up. But Pauline and I got sick and tired of that stupid thing going off every hour. I just threw it away. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I look out and it's raining. I know the storm's coming.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's they want to, God, I got like 3 different apps trying to send me this stuff.
Yeah. I figured, I could be a weather forecaster, Craig. I mean, they kind of got it down pat down here. They get paid a whole lot of money to say, it may rain tomorrow, or it may not. Yeah. It could snow, but probably not. You know, they might have high winds, it might be sunshine. I mean, that's all I have to say, really. And, you know, I can be a weather forecaster, it seems like. I mean, they're not that bad, but it just seems like sometimes they'll say it's going to, you know, 80% chance of rain, and you don't see a drop. It's like, really? Okay.
I could probably use a coin flip to, you know, tell the weather and do about, you know, as good a job as they do.
Well, we got storms coming off the Gulf, and then we got storms that build during the daytime because we're right here. You know, the way Florida's situated, you know, these cells will come in and build right at the coast. So I mean, you have no warning. It's just, you know, they kind of build right there, and they don't know. I mean, it just, you know, it's kind of like an impossible thing to predict where they're going to throw some rain down and stuff like that. I was coming up I-75 today and out of Tampa, and man, it was raining so bad you couldn't, you know, really even see the car in front of you. And then it's not raining at all. And then next mile you're hitting another cell. It's just people pulling off the road and turning their hazard lights on and all that stuff. And I'm over there trucking right up the Hammer lane. I don't even, you know, as long as there ain't nobody in there, I don't care. But you know, it just rained. But they, you know, some of the people aren't used to it. It's just picture the worst storm you've ever had up there, and that's probably what we get all the time here. You know, as far as the amount of rain coming down, we get these gully washers.
I don't know. We had a record last year.
Yeah.
You know, in this county in history.
Really?
So, I mean, you know, one time we had 8 inches in 2 days.
Oh, yeah. We get a foot in a day, buddy.
We had one time where I swear it rained at least sprinkled for 2 days. I mean, 10 days, I think it was in a row.
Yeah.
It was either pouring down rain or at least just, you know, light mist, but it never stopped for like 10 days. It was unbelievable.
I've seen where we get.
And then this year we've already, you know, we've had, you know, we're having like this week we've had like all these like little micro storms, you know, like 15, 20 minute shower and then sun pops out again.
Yeah.
And then another hour goes by and then you hear thunder and lightning and all of a sudden, you know, everything goes black. Rain comes down real hard. 5 minutes later it stops. You know.
Yeah, I've seen it down here at 5 or 6 inches in an hour. It just comes down and just gets you. But you know, you're out there detecting and stuff, or whatever you're doing outdoors. You know, you got to be. And I know guys that have gotten struck by lightning out there, and the sun is out and blue skies, and all of a sudden, bam, they get struck. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And what happened when I was hunting over there in near Madeira Beach, and you know, I guess not even a mile away, a guy got struck walking home, and it wasn't even raining. You know, it struck him dead. I mean, it's like, geez. And I'm out here on the beach. You know, there ain't nothing on the beach, but the storms pop up down here so quick. And you know, that's why, you know, I remember any sporting events or whatever, you see strike of lightning, you get off the fields. You know, they don't even mess with it anymore. It used to be you stay out there in the rain, but it's just too doggone dangerous to do it. Because as soon as you think you got it figured out, by golly, Mother Nature will smack you in the back of the head. So,
yeah.
I see we got Gavin on tonight, and Earl, and Bill Marsh is going to be back on the replay and stuff. You know, I noticed I was looking through the analysis or whatever of the show and everything. We got some listeners from Brazil now, which is kind of neat. So I just wanted to welcome them to the show. We hadn't had a lot from Brazil, you know, South America or anything like that. So, you know, every once in a while, but yeah, it seems like they're pretty regular. So just waving a hand at y'all down there. And of course, we got Gavin. He's over in Australia, down under. But yeah, it just seemed like Germany and UK and France and stuff like that. We have some listeners over in that way, you know, across the pond or so, and up in Canada. So yeah, it's, you know, welcome. Just wanted to welcome Brazil there, guys from Brazil. And it mean, you know, I never know who, you know, if they're visiting that area and just listening to the show or whatever. But there's so many formats with this podcasting now, Craig. I was looking on here on Spreaker alone, I can go through and see the sources where, like an Android, iPad, you know, iPads, desktops, that kind of thing, but also the apps like, you know, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Man, they got some I ain't never even heard of. They must be out of different countries or something. But there's like a whole 2 pages of them or something like that on the computer.
It's like I was reading about, YouTube is like, and podcasting are getting huge in India.
Right.
And you think, God, they got like over, 1.5 billion people or something in that country.
Yeah.
But, it's pretty amazing. It's taken off. And, I was talking to somebody the other day, and a guy, I guess he was about maybe 28. I just met, and I was checking my iPhone or something, and he was asking about it, and we'd start talking. I said, talked about, we've done a podcast, and then he said that he listened to about 4 regularly.
Right.
And then I was telling him about, how podcasting has gotten, bigger. It's getting ready to, sweep regular radio away. Probably not AM, but FM. It's just becoming, part of, it's just considered radio now.
Right.
In fact, that with the advertising and how big it is, and how you don't have to have a schedule, you get the advertising, whenever anybody listens to your podcast now. And plus, over 50% of the people are listening to the podcast in their cars, on their way to work, or, commuting to work.
Right.
And I heard this, 4 years ago when I was asking these college kids at the camp, you guys listen to podcasts? Every single one of them did. So, it's just that's part of their culture, but it's it's becoming huge. I mean, the advertising is just. I saw some statistics, and it's just jumping.
We got stuff on here like the Apple Core Media is probably our number one. I guess they listen through, then Castbox, Spotify, Downcast, Spreaker, Android, generic Android app, Spreaker website, of course, Podcast Addict, Overcast, iTunes, Apple Core Media, Apple Watch, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Player FM. I mean, Dog Catcher. I have no idea. Firefox, Cruncher. They got all kinds of different names of these. I guess sources, and then they go through.
I think
devices.
Google has one, don't they?
Yeah, Google has. Matter of fact, I can tell you what it's weird the way it kind of works in a way. Let me go over here to show settings here, and hang on. There we go. Let's see, dashboard, distribution. Right now, the ones that we're on syndicate. I don't know if it's syndicated. I call it syndicated, but it's not. Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, and Castbox. The only one we're waiting on right now is iHeartRadio. I guess they go through. They have to listen for a couple. It takes 2 or 3 weeks, several weeks to get the show reviewed by iHeartRadio, and then if they decide it's appropriate or whatever, it's not kind of crazy, they'll put it on there.
Well, they've gotten pretty big. I mean,
oh yeah.
I listen to a couple of AM and FM radio in my car, depending on whether there's a commercial on or not. But I'll switch over, to the FM one, which is, basically music, and it's all through iHeartRadio through the FM, so they don't really have their own music. They're using, and another one uses Spotify to get all their music. So it's
that's
playing
what I have
through
on
the
my phone.
FM. I guess it's too expensive to, for these stations now to do it any other way. So it means that, it's probably coming to an end,
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like everything now is, I was trying to use, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of them now. even the apps and stuff like that. It's like they give you this free trial thing, and then they want you to pay $9.99 a month and stuff. And some of the stuff you just have to, you have to have like, to be able to download, your metal detecting videos or to share them with people without using Facebook or YouTube. I have a Dropbox, which I can, like, if I make a video and I want to send it to Craig only, and to send it through as an email or something, it's too many megabytes or whatever. You gotta, I have to move it into Dropbox, and then Craig can go in his storage on there and actually see it, and get his opinion on it, see if I want to post it up or something. I could do that kind of thing, but I got to pay for that service because he only lets you do that for so much information before you have to buy storage, is what it amounts to. It's essentially kind of like doing a zip file, as near as I can tell. But when I was doing some reviews, detector reviews, stuff like that, I'd send the footage through there, raw footage, so that they can put it together the way they wanted to. And, that way, they cut out the parts they wanted to or whatever, put it together, and be able to post it up that way. It gets confusing, man. I tell you, just the things you do and the things that this hobby gets you into, it's startling, because I never thought it'd be.
Yeah, I did that. I use that Dropbox with my taxes or something, and send my brother some documents, and I realized I'm paying $9.99 a month, so I dropped it after did that one transaction, and then they're after me, they want a subscription, to keep it up. And, they're talking about all that storage, like you say, and I go, I don't need any storage now. I just needed that one document sent, but I'm not paying, over $100 a year just for, sending one document. $10 isn't bad enough,
Well, that's the way, I think it was sound.
But I guess if you needed it more, it's a good service, it works and everything, but it's like everybody wants a subscription now,
Yeah.
They want to, Apple just, in their new operating system that's coming out, it's like if you're on some site and you want to, share to social network or something, or, when you go to do it, it'll say sign in with Twitter or sign in with Facebook usually.
Right.
And so that way one of those guys is tracking you, after that they put the cookies on you. But Apple is going to have this thing where it says sign in with Apple. And when you hit that, they create a fake email firewall between you and, whoever, you're sharing from. And they can send you a message, but you don't have to accept it. And they don't know who you are.
Right.
So I thought that, and, people were talking about all the new products and everything, and, all the new cool stuff in the operating system. And I thought the privacy thing was the greatest thing I've ever heard of. Actually a company is actually going to do that, and it's going to cause problems because damn well Twitter and Facebook and all these other websites and stuff aren't going to like it. But Apple has always had, pretty good ad blockers and stuff.
Right.
That some of them are free, but they don't think, their whole policy has always been, we don't make money off your privacy. Your privacy should be kept to you alone.
Right.
And you decide how much, privacy you give up, not us.
Mm-hmm.
And so they decided that, not only that, we need to protect our customers, because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, exactly.
And so, that's a good thing, but, Google and Facebook, that's their whole business plan. 90% of their money is, it's going to kill them if they go through that antitrust thing and they tell them that they can't do this anymore. that's the core of their business.
Right.
Advertising makes as biggest profitable business there is on the planet right now. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's mind blowing, and trying to figure out the system. I don't know. Some people haven't figured out. I don't know. I mean, I've never been one to sit there and try to do all that stuff. You try to get your show or your video out there so people can see it, and then you have you can monetize and stuff like that. But Craig, I really don't know how some of these people. I'm glad they do. I mean, God bless them. I'm glad they're making money at it. These individuals and stuff doing whatever they're doing on YouTube and all the subscribers and stuff. That's all great. We like watching the videos and stuff. And why shouldn't they make a little bit of money off of their videos and stuff? But I don't know how they. How it even works. I mean, really. I mean, like we monetize the show, and I think it's up to like $25 or something in a month, and a week, which is not bad. But I mean, you're not going to get rich doing it. That's for sure.
It's like a lot of these guys that I watch. They're doing different deals. Other than YouTube, but it's tied to their channel. Like they sell, merchandise,
right,
with different logos and stuff.
It's a lot of work.
I know like the Stealth Diggers, and also with Charlie, with the Stealth Diggers, and also this guy Jake that's with D Almighty does the treasure hunting underwater.
Mm-hmm.
He gets sponsorships and deals with he got one with this jet ski, corporation, scuba gear, all kinds of different products, and he's getting money off that, and they also have merchandise and stuff like that. But
that's good. You can see, it's in the hobby. And
but he was, he was talking about it, how it's not easy. You got to come up with the goods all the time.
Oh,
you gotta keep the videos coming, and
mm-hmm.
People get burned out. And people get and I was going to talk about this. My YouTube channel has been, the subscribers have been going up and down like 4 to 7 every single day, up and down, up and down. They'll start off at 1045, 1045, and then in the middle of the day it'll be down to 1038 or 1039, and this is every single day for over a month. And I've been trying to, I haven't seen anything on this, and today I get this email website thing comes in called Tube Filter, and they have all kinds of stories on YouTube and what's going on. They dig into what's happening and all these different creators and stuff. And
right.
So there was this thing on YouTube doesn't like people looking at their subscribers to see how much they're going up and down. And I was like, what the heck are they talking about?
Yeah.
I know it. I mean, I just got over 1,000 a couple months ago, and I was like every day checking it 3 or 4 times, when I was getting close, I was like,
yeah,
but,
no doubt.
I don't see anything wrong with it. What the heck is going on? But it's just one thing after another. But anyway, the article talked about there's this guy PewDiePie that had 45 million subscribers, and all of a sudden this other group called T-Series that was I think they're Indian music video group or something.
Yeah.
And they're real popular, and they started getting close to PewDiePie, and so all these YouTubers on both sides started doing all these videos and trying to get more subscribers, and it got up to where they both went over 100 million subscribers. Jeez. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And YouTube didn't like this. but it created a big buzz. I mean, it was so much, talk about it. And, normally I wouldn't even have watched it, but I started, kind of glancing at some of the stuff, just to see, it was funny, how, they were getting in like a war, but it was a friendly war in a way, it wasn't anything where anybody's going to kill anybody, but YouTube acted like this is like, that they were weaponizing subscriptions and dislikes. That was another thing. They're thinking about getting rid of dislikes or
Why? That doesn't make any sense to me. If you don't like a video, you can dislike it.
Because this weaponizes. The dislike button is a weaponization of. I'll give you an example. They have a thing called Rotten Tomatoes that scores, movies. They put movies on there and people rate them, give them so many rotten apples or tomatoes or whatever it is. Well, the first one I heard about this was they came out with this Captain Marvel movie, which was this woman that, nobody had hardly ever heard of, and all of a sudden she's got more powers than anybody. Right. And so people started making movies, YouTube videos about it, saying, I don't understand what the heck's going on, and they didn't like it. And so when the reviews came out, people panned it. It didn't get that great of reviews. And instead of, being okay with it, YouTube said that it wasn't true, that this was a great movie and people were just doing this to knock the movie down. And they were trolling it and this and that, and they were weaponizing the dislike.
Right.
So now Rotten Tomatoes, it got so bad, Rotten Tomatoes just took the dislike button away. It's just gone, and that was most of their business.
I don't know.
But,
it just seems to me that everything in this world can't be.
But guess what? This Marvel is all owned by Disney, which is like practically $1 trillion organization.
Huge.
So they so all of a sudden you're not supposed to dislike a movie, whether it's good or bad.
I'm sure they would. If you said it was the greatest movie in the world, they wouldn't regulate that at all, would they? They did, they'd want you to put that, but sometimes it feels like we're in such a warm and fuzzy society. Everybody's got to get a trophy, and it's like some things are worth watching, some things aren't. I mean,
well, it was this could potentially cost them money, but just don't make a bad movie.
Yeah.
Don't do something stupid and put in a character that nobody's really heard of, and all of a sudden she's got more powers than the guys that have been in there forever or whatever. I don't know.
They're kind of remaking a lot of these.
I don't really care one way or the other, but I just thought
I don't either.
Was kind of funny. I like the Marvel stuff, but I haven't watched any of those, in-game or any of that stuff
like Green Arrow and Flash and all. I've watched all. And one thing I've noticed is that they start off. The first couple seasons are really good. Then it goes into this kind of. And it's every show. It's not just those. Yeah, I don't want to pay for it either. But I mean, it's just, it's either good or it's bad.
I'll tell you another one was, this new Star Wars, and that's owned by Disney too now, and it sucks. I
haven't seen it.
It was, oh my God, it was horrible. I just went, some of this one robot in there, it was the cheesiest looking thing. I was like, God, this is, you got to be kidding me. It just didn't, and at the end of the movie that, they're all, the two antagonists are just sitting there and they're getting ready to be blown up by this supernova or whatever. And they're just calm as can be, before they die. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy.
Craig, it seems like across the board, we watch, Pauline and I kind of flip around. We try to find something new to watch or whatever, a new series, or more I find out it's just garbage. It's just not. I mean, for us, maybe some people like it. I don't know. Some of these shows, I'm not even going to go through them.
What I think about Star Wars is, I remember when it first came out.
I do too. Yeah.
but you know, the special effects nowadays and everything, you know, make those movies look like they're cheesy now.
Right.
They're just not there. You know, Star Wars had that great music too.
Yeah.
You know, the theme
it was something
song,
special. I mean,
character and everything.
It was different. It was new at the time. You know, it was.
You know, but
I remember that.
But you know, nowadays you're bombarded with all these different movies. You know, there's not. You know, you don't have
they've
like
gotten
Star
predictable.
Wars.
A lot of this stuff has gotten predictable, and it's just like.
And they have this franchise, and it's gotten old. It's you know, the science fiction, you know, if you read the real science fiction, it's nothing like, it's cheap. This is like cowboy science fiction, you know,
right?
More than real science fiction. It's not real science fiction. It's more fantasy. You know, that's what Star Wars is. But like Star Trek is real, you know, science fiction. You know, but you know, I don't think Star Wars really is.
You got to take a lot of these shows with a grain of salt and a shot of tequila. You know, it's like the whole zombie thing, and you know, some people are really into that. Hey, hats on to, you know, whatever you like and hobbies or whatever.
God.
But it's like I can't, you know, I remember, you know, like Night of the Living Dead, stuff like, you know, when I was growing up, and they've just taken it to a whole nother level. Which, hey, you know, I had guys my age that were dressing up as zombies and stuff. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't, you know, it annoys me. It's just, I don't know, the movies that come out and you know, they have like the zombie apocalypse and this and that. And I'm like, it's just, I guess I'm just not into it. So maybe that's what it is. But I kind of got frustrated with all of them. I'm tired of hearing about it. You know, it's like, show us something new, something crazy new, and not the same old stuff. You know, even, you know, some of the other series and stuff. I remember when you used to watch a series, and man, it kept you.
Indiana Jones and then Temple of Doom, when that first came out,
right.
that was
great.
God, you know, now the guy's like, you know, 110 years old, and they still got him on there, you know, coming out, and I'm like, no, this just doesn't work. Oh, I saw one last night. Rambo's, you know, like 70-some years old, I guess now, and he's coming out in Last Blood or something, you know, where he's chopping all these people up. And I'm like, come on, man.
It's nostalgic now. That's all that is nostalgia, you know. You know, it's like you can't redo some of these movies.
But actually, you know, he makes better movies than most of these other people, actually, you know.
Yeah.
I love the Rambo movies, but
oh yeah, I mean, I remember seeing it with my dad. That was one of the first movies, you know, other than Star Wars. I mean, me and my dad went to, you know, Rambo First Blood or whatever it was, you know, the very first one. We saw it a couple times, and that was, you know, I can remember that. But I mean, even then, you know, after so many of them, it's like you beat it to death, and it's like it has to take some kind of a dramatic kind of turn. You know, you can't see the same old scenario. And then they start getting even these new DC, and you have to take these with a grain of salt. Like, you know, I'm watching Flash right now, and it's just like, okay, you know, you go into it with just a comical kind of attitude, and it's not a bad watch, but it's not like watching, I guess, Star Trek, even though it's old, Craig, but I mean, it kept you into it, you know, for quite a long time. Or even back when we were growing up. I mean, it just had content.
I remember when it came out, it was like nothing we'd ever seen before. I mean, you know, everything else was like real reality, you know, you know, cowboys and Indians and gangsters and, you know, comedy and Jackie Gleason show. And I remember Glenn Campbell music show was on TV, and that's about all you had. And then all of a sudden Star Trek comes out, man. It was wild. I mean, this was like totally, you know, different. These people are flying around in spaceships, and you got aliens, and, you know, it was kind of a guy's thing too, you know. A lot of women did not like that show too much, you know, but, you know, I remember we used to watch it every afternoon over at this friend of mine's house after school and stuff, and we, it'd be probably the 50th time we watched this one show, you know, reruns. But we didn't care. We watched it again. You know.
Well, they came out with that new Star Trek. Well, it's a spoof on Star Trek. I come to find out, I can't remember the name of it. Craig, I don't mind him trying to make a comedy out of it, but God, at least be funny. I mean, it was so pathetically stupid. It was like I only got through like 2 shows. I'm like, screw this. I'm not watching this anymore. It's just idiotic.
The new all these new ones are totally bombing.
Yeah, I'm like, good God. At least you're going to spend millions of dollars on something. At least put out something halfway decent.
It's a total disaster. I guess CBS or somebody or NBC Universal or something. I don't know what it is, but I think they own it. But they destroyed the whole thing. Doesn't even if you're a Trekkie, you're into all the minutiae of that stuff, and this is just it deviates so much that it's just not the same anymore. So the people that were really into Star Trek, are not happy at all. I'll watch.
I think that's why
I watched a couple things on it, but people put YouTube channels about everything nowadays. Anything that upsets them or they like or whatever, you can find out about it. But
well, I mean, that has content. I mean, it may not like their opinion, it may not like their video, but at least they're doing something the way they want to do it. I mean, I guess it's just like, not every metal detecting video I watch I like. I mean, some of them I just, I don't like it for whatever reason. And I'm sure it's the same way they watch mine or watch yours or whatever. You just either like them or you don't. And, I think, some people get too, I don't know, the dramatic part of it. It's like, I guess to the relic hunter, to the, real coin shooter, whatever, people that have been in the hobby for a while, jumping up and, I'm not even going to say the show, you'll know what I'm talking about, jumping up and down and hanging from a tree because you find a dime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all about ratings and stuff. It's not, it's not what.
Yeah, it's getting everybody to watch, and it's like you watch people and they're waving their hands all around, and
I get it too. It's like that Rebel Gold. I was watching that, and I like the show, but there's like one of the guys on there. He's not even a detectorist. He's more. I can't remember exactly what he does, but he's piping in on topics that he's pulling out his butt because he doesn't know the hobby. You know what I mean? I'm going to listen to the guy that's the relic hunters on there that hunt, that do this, that are trying to find this stuff, and listening to what they say because they've been in this. And here's the guy that's never really, he likes the idea of metal detecting. He's, and it's, everybody's in the hobby they don't have all the experience level and everything, but this guy is like trying to throw his opinion around, and it's out in left field. I don't mind different thinkers, but it was like, God, this guy just annoyed the crap out of me. I'm like, God, well, listen to the guy that's been doing it. He knows what he's talking about. He's hunted this area. He's hunted these states. He's been after this thing for, how many years his dad was. I mean, not that you don't take that information or that opinion in on how to hunt for this treasure, into consideration, but don't get, the guy was getting mad and, wanting to, it was like he was trying to, it was a pissing contest. And it's like, I was like, no, you know what you know. Don't try to know something you don't, because it's going to come out and you're going to look like an idiot. And that's exactly what he did, in my opinion. Anyways,
some people, have to be the expert, and it's like
I got like you trying to say that you're a mechanic,
I don't
Craig,
pretend
and you're
to
not.
know everything, or and right. I've gotten so where I don't want to give a whole lot of advice anymore. I just want to have fun, and I'll share what I got, but I mean, some of these people, got to push this stuff down your throat like they're the, they know everything about it and this and that. Oh, I was looking at new machines. I got this new Minelab Vanquish coming out. I don't know if you've heard about this.
Yeah, I saw your post about that, or that it's like it's below Equinox as far as price range or something like that. I don't know what tell us, because I really don't know a whole lot of them.
Yeah, it's going to have supposedly some of the technology of the like the multi-frequency stuff, I guess. I don't know if it's going to run. It's got 3 different frequencies.
Right.
But it's priced around what the Xterra would be or something, but they had this, they had like this little clip, and they showed this, black, and then all of a sudden this Vanquish, the name Vanquish comes up, and then it's, and then it's gone, and this new detector, and that was the first thing you see. Then I got this thing where you join this Facebook page, and so I got on there. And so finally they come out with this thing, and everybody, people are going, oh man, it's going to be like, maybe it's going to be like an Equinox 1000, or
right.
And somebody said, oh, it's going to be the replacement for the, the CTX 3030, and that's what I thought, but anyway, it turns out to be, basically a lower end detector. It's not low end, but it's lower. It's a disappointment because everybody was thinking, most of the people got an Equinox aren't going to be buying a Vanquish, or
no, but I think
they're not going to be interested in it, but supposedly this is just the first of the new detectors to come, or
right.
something. So eventually they'll get.
I was doing like the Quest, right? And I was using the Quest 40. And I was very shocked that in the price range that it was at, I think it was like $399 or something like that, that it could do some of the stuff that a higher end detector would do. I think, the technology is really good for the price range it's in. I think that shows that the technology itself is getting easier or cheaper to make. Not necessarily, quality of a detector, but like you said, it's multiple frequency and everything. It's a lower end for people to be able to afford to get some of the power or they're getting more for their money. I think that's what they're after trying to do. Hopefully the thing is what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be it's not going to be an Equinox. It's not going to be a CTX 3030 as far as all the bells and whistles and everything else, but just the basic detection power is going to be on the upper level for that price range. I think it may, I was saying about the Quest 40, even the Quest 20. I mean, really, that's a beginner machine. It's like a couple $100, but what it could do at that price range was pretty shocking. The recovery delay and everything else. I mean, it's nice that they're coming out with some of these that people can afford, that it's a little bit more of a detector than you would normally get for that price. That I think is what they were after doing more than anything. It, like you said, they're going to come out probably with more, a better detector, but you have to remember the technology only goes so far right now. Every 6 months to a year, the machines are getting better.
I think it's been out about 4 years or so. So there's been at least 4 generations of chips, jumping up since then. They can put in these machines now.
But even the E-Tracks, the MX
a lot of
keys and all that stuff,
they're using the same chip as they use in a smartphone. So it's getting, you see the Equinox, everything is in that little box, on the screen.
It's pretty neat.
But it's like people were selling their CTXs, to get the Equinoxes. I've seen a lot of that.
Well, even I saw an E-Track online. I think it was on eBay, $1,800. I mean, they're not dropping in price very much. I mean, the MX keys I'm seeing for $995, and that's the same price it was, years ago. But it's not that they're not good. They're still good detectors. I mean, it just, Craig and I and a lot of the guys that listen to the show are just after the.
You get an Equinox, 600 or 800.
Right.
It's a top of the line machine. Basically people are telling me, I've never had a CTX 3030, but people are getting rid of them, going to the Equinox, saying it's better and a lot lighter.
Yeah, it doesn't mean the machine won't do what they say it'll do. I mean, it does find you stuff and everything.
Now, some of the people are saying they're keeping their, they have the 3030 and they use it, and they also use the Equinox, and they like to be able to program the 3030. It's got probably more programmability to it, but it's I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty cool when they come out with something like that. It's the Equinox is definitely a good seller. I mean,
oh yeah.
I was just I saw a thing where a guy we know, I won't mention his name, but he's got a Nokta Amphibio, or is it Amphibio, for sale, and this is a guy that's had a lot of machines, including the CTX. He's had a Bliss tool. He's had Equinox. I think E-Track. A lot of machines, and he's pretty much a coin hunter. And so turns out this Amphibios, he's only used it like 4 or 5 times, and he's getting rid of it. And so people were asking about why, and he said that it was almost unusable because of EMI.
Yeah,
and
he could be using full
he
resonance.
He said, it just, and he lives in, he does some hunting outside the city, but he lives in a major metropolis area, and,
right.
So this machine is just, it just doesn't work in that kind of environment because of EMI. And he was also saying, that the machine was erratic and some other things. I won't get into all that, but I was kind of surprised because I hadn't heard a lot lately about it. When that machine first hit the market, everybody was talking about 14-inch dime, and so we got a lot of buzz. But then now I just realized the other day I hadn't heard much about it in a while.
Yeah, it's some of these machines, they're still usable. I mean, don't get me wrong. I always tell people that I talk to on the phone or whatever, they're looking for a machine. Go on eBay. I mean, you can pick up AT Pros and MXTs and all the detectors, used ones, and they're still good. They're still usable. I mean, don't get me wrong. You don't want to buy something from 1970 or 1980 because they're not going to be as good, but they'll still find you stuff. But like E-Track, the MXTs, the DFXs, the X-Gals, all that stuff, they still find you a lot of stuff. It just that they don't have it.
Guess what this guy's best setup is?
What's that?
It's AT Pro with the big nail coil. He says that setup has gotten him the deepest silver of all those machines.
That kind of surprises me. Well, I mean, that nail coil is really good. I mean, I say that. I just didn't think that it would be comparable to some of those machines at all. But
yeah, I was kind of surprised. But he actually had sold his AT Pro and he was buying a new one. But I thought that's pretty. It's like I saw this guy, and he had his 2 sons, hunting down at Stafford years ago, and they just weren't. He had an AT Pro, and he just wasn't finding it. Was they were having to dig big pits down 2 feet or a foot just to hope to hit a bullet.
And some people have the luck with certain machines too.
He came over and he saw me digging, and he was like, "Oh my God, you think unbelievable depth of that Bliss tool," and and he goes, I just can't afford another machine right now, and
right.
And I said, he was talking, I'm, thinking about it, I'm kind of saving some money up, but I can't really afford it right now. And I said, man, you know what you can do? I said, that machine with a big coil on it, you could hit a bullet easy at 12 inches.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And I go, yeah. And he goes, you're kidding me. I said, nah. I said, you might even get it deeper than that. But I said, the best upgrade is to get a bigger coil. Get one of those Nell coils. They're better than the stock Garrett anyway. Mm-hmm. And I said, I know a lot of guys, that's what they relic hunt with. They field hunt. There's people over, and I've seen guys, in Austria and England and stuff, digging Roman coins deep with those machines. It's for the price and everything, and instead of buying a whole upgrade to a whole new machine, just get a bigger coil.
Yeah.
And
it's just like the Bliss tool. I mean, the V3s. I mean, I've seen them on eBay and stuff like that. It's been a year or two ago for like $250. You can't buy a detector that has that power, that gets that depth, anywhere for that amount of money. I mean, you're going to pay $700, $800, $900 easily for a machine that can get that kind of depth and that kind of iron, discrimination and stuff like that. And on that level, that's what blew my mind about it. They'll spend money on brand B that's $500-$600, and they have a problem spending $400 or $500 on a V3 model. It's just because they don't know the machine. They haven't seen a bunch of write-ups about it. It's kind of like what the Nautilus was back in the day, and now it's kind of like obsolete in a lot of ways. It's still finding stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be able to hunt a lot of the environments and stuff like that. But that's what always got me about the V3 models. I have guys ask me, "Well, what would you sell for?" I wouldn't sell for a dime under $500. Number one, you can't even get them anymore unless you buy them from Bulgaria. There's nobody, as far as I know, that's selling Bliss tool in America anymore. Craig and I did it. I won't ever knock the machine, but if you have a V6, hang on to it, because you're just not going to find them anymore unless you buy them from out of the country. But for the performance and everything, you're not going to find it's on the same level. I mean, they were competing with TDIs and pulse machines, for God's sake, and you just don't find them.
I've been going back over my yard the last two or 3 weeks, with the Bliss tool, and it's amazing what I found. I'm getting ready to do a video on it, but I've kind of Civil War bullet in my front yard that was, maybe 9 inches deep, and I should have heard it, with the Equinox or, probably even the Deus, but I didn't because the ground was so bad there.
Yeah.
And I have all this coal in the ground. It's all this carbon. I was watching the stealth diggers, and they were digging around these cellar holes, and there's this one area where they were going over the ground, and it was just barking. It was just, it was just, just shattering like crazy. And they finally got this little tiny tweak, and they dug a button. So then they scraped all the leaves back, and it was just black dirt where it burned. That cabinet burned, and all that stuff was in the ground there. So they scraped about 6 inches of that stuff away, and then, oh man, it was like the buttons were just popping out of the ground left and right, and I was thinking that's the same way as my yard is, all that coal and cinders and burnt stuff and nails is just all in the ground everywhere, and some of that stuff's being masked.
Oh yeah, so, I guarantee it. I do houses down here like that, where they tore down a house, and it's like there's so many targets, whether it be iron, it could be gold down there mixed in with iron, and it just your detectors, any detector you take in there is going to be noisy as hell. I mean, just there's so many different targets. That's why like with the Bliss tool, even, I mean, there's some targets that you miss with the Bliss tool that you got with the Equinox, and you know what I mean. It's just so tough. It's direction, going different directions. It's using different settings. It's using whatever you have in your arsenal to find stuff in that situation. It's like a cellar hole. These cellar holes are notoriously, I guess, just filled with nails and iron, but it's getting in between everything. It's being able to squeeze out the performance out of a machine. But if it doesn't have it to squeeze out, that's where you need a different kind of detector. Even if you can't get, brand A, B, and C to work at all, and you get brand D to at least get you coins 2 inches down, go with brand D. You know what I mean? It just, I never really ever beat up machines at all, because it's just, Craig, you've used a billion of them yourself. I mean, they all have their uses. It just, I guess we get to the point that we recognize the the detector within an hour or two of using it, whether it has potential of being that next good detector.
What is it? There was a guy made a post on one of my posts on I think it was on Hardcore, and it was I'd posted something about the Mine Lab and this guy said he had a Fisher 1266, and he said it would the Deus and the Equinox sucked, and that machine would blow blow them away. Mm-hmm. And so I posted it. I had a 1265X years ago, and it was great on bullets and silver coins, but it was lousy on buttons.
Right.
So then he posted back that he got a button block eye button at 15 inches deep or something. But,
yeah, right.
But anyway, that machine was a low frequency machine,
right.
And it did really good on, it would pick up iron really good too, was what was kind of bad. But it was a bullet grabbing machine. It loved bullets.
Mm-hmm.
I remember with a 9-inch coil, you could, dig bullets easily at 12, 14 inches. And, it just didn't, you just didn't get buttons hardly at all.
Right.
Just didn't, the frequency just wasn't there for buttons. Buttons were more, 12, 14 kilohertz, you would get them better. Mm-hmm. But it was always kind of a joke. We'd be hunting with the Nautilus, and I remember this guy had a Fisher, and there were several guys that had Fishers in the old days, and I said they were talking about the machines. I said, "Oh, you must not like buttons." And they go, "What do you mean?" I love buttons. And I go, "Oh, I got a Fisher."
Yeah, some detectors are just better at getting certain items. It's in the frequencies they run and stuff like that.
And somebody said, "Man, one time I missed a bullet with the Nautilus." And I go, "Well, I'd rather have a button than a bullet,
Yeah.
But it's true. I can't get,
lead is one
bullets
of those, yeah.
as deep as the Fisher can with that lower frequency. But it's pretty cool now. Now they got multi frequencies, where it enhances,
mm-hmm.
all your targets pretty much.
Well, they're also running different filters now on some of these. That's why Bliss Tool runs a straight 8 kilohertz on where you can go to 7.4, but it's not a multiple. You can't use multiple frequencies at the same time. But even at 8 kilohertz, I can find a gold ring just as deep as a silver ring. It's just a quieter tone. And it's 8 kilohertz. Most people, like the GMT, I think, is using 48 kilohertz. Usually, the higher the kilohertz, the lower conductors come through better. So some of these machines now are using that technology, I'm sure, in some way, shape, like the Equinox or whatever else. It's jumping a lot of frequencies, but it's running through. I don't know, the technical term, I don't know, but I think they're running through some kind of a filter or something like that. But with the Bliss Tool, it's analog, so figure that one out. This machine threw me for a loop even working on them, because number one, I'm new to working on electronics that way.
I don't know. It almost sounds to me like it's digital within the machine itself, though.
Yeah.
Even though you're getting an analog signal through the speaker, but it just does things.
Processors or something. It processes it differently.
I've been running totally different settings, and today I was running the depth discriminator at 10, but I had the discriminator at 3 instead of 4,
mm-hmm.
and I was able to pick out a couple things, in the iron, but it was funny how the iron started popping out left and right all over, where it was quiet before. I could start, hearing, bigger pieces of iron in the ground and stuff, and I didn't even know they were in the ground before.
Yeah.
The Equinox does a very good job on knocking out iron. If you want to, kind of like the Bliss Tool, you go over the like iron in one direction, then you go the opposite way, and it a lot of times it won't even, it'll either sound really bad or it just won't sound off at all.
Right.
Kind of like the Bliss does. But
looks like
the tone, the tone sounds good. It's kind of, I can almost, when I go over a piece of aluminum, it's got this shrilly sound to it, and I can kind of go, I bet that's aluminum. Of course, you got to dig it, because it's to make sure. But I'd try to guess what it's going to be before I dig it.
Right. Well, that's why I was hunting the way I was when, at the plantation property, the Toll Bridge property. I'm running really low discrimination for what I would normally hunt, and I could tell the iron still, just by Xing over it, or when you go over in one direction then in the other direction, I can tell it. The other thing was chasing that signal, even when it sounded good. Well, I wouldn't say good. When I said it's a possibility, it may be something good, really deep, and I would start digging and I would start chasing, and I knew it was iron right there. You start chasing iron. It's Bliss Tool. It's notorious for Bliss Tool when you're dealing with deep iron, that you're kind of wanting to be a marginal target. There's really no marginal target with the Bliss Tool, but there, just because I wasn't finding anything else, I was digging down. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to widen the hole. Okay, finally found it was like a 20 penny spike to bent in half. But I knew it was iron to begin with. It was just trying to make sure that I wasn't making a mistake. You know what I mean, Craig? That I was trying to find everything I could. And I said, well, maybe it's something cool that's iron. It turned out to be a big spike, but I was having to chase it. Where, a lot of the machines will pinpoint iron the same way they would a coin. You have your iron discrimination, don't get me wrong, but if you had your running all metal, it's going to pinpoint it dead on. With the Bliss Tool, you'll start chasing. And, that's a pretty good sign. That's, if you're after that iron piece, you just turn down your discrimination all the way to all metal, and then you pinpoint. You can tell about right where it is. But, that machine's also one that you can tell a bottle cap and a heartbeat between a bottle cap and a quarter. I don't know if the Equinox will do that. Have you tried that yet, Craig? I was kind of curious about that, what a bottle cap and a quarter will read up on Equinox. Because they are, whites and stuff like that. It was very close as far as VDI numbers.
I can't remember. I don't think I've dug. I think they went down in the low range.
Did they? Okay, I wasn't sure. I was just kind of curious what
I think they were below bottle cap. Steel bottle caps.
Okay.
They were below nickel. I'm sorry.
Below nickel. Okay.
I think they were instead of 15, they were 13 or 14 or something. I can't remember. I haven't dug that many.
With my Spectrum V3,
it's
from whites, it was very close.
I've gotten so where I can almost tell on a steel bottle cap with a Bliss Tool, just by the sound.
Right, it clips at the end, end of the swing, and a lot of times me and Craig, get pretty far ahead. A lot of new people out there, they're metal detecting stuff. We kind of get a little technical on this show. We try not to, but these are things we've picked up on over the years with certain machines. Using them so much, we know the items that the machine is very good at picking up. Like you heard Craig talk about, one will find bullets really good, but it won't find buttons. One will find buttons, but won't find bullets as easily. And it's getting kind of technical in the way and what it does.
Yeah.
But it's important
to
know.
The first machine I ever had that did discriminate on depth on the different types of metal was that Explorer that I had, the Minelab Explorer, and I did test. Man, I could dig a bullet so much deeper than the Nautilus. It was unbelievable.
Right.
The Nautilus was pretty close on buttons, but it seemed like silver and bullets. That Equinox just really dug them deeper.
Oh, yeah.
And ID'd them, with the Tone ID, too, which was nice. But I tested those two machines, every weekend for something like 8 months, 6 or 8 months. Every other day I would take, a different machine out and go over the same spot. And then next week, pick out another spot. start with the other machine first, and then the next day go over it with the other machine, and I just, I kept a track on how much iron I was digging, and also how many good things I was digging. And the mine lab was just, I was digging less iron and more good targets.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to. I mean, exactly. And I was going back, it was like, when I found that USA button, I went over that area for about a week straight, where I just kept going over and scraping the ground and knocking down dirt piles and, using both machines, I just covered that ground with those machines. That's how you learn, that's how I learned anyway about whether a machine was better than another machine. Take it back to the spots where they weren't yielding anymore. And if you could find stuff, it's got to be a little bit better.
Oh, yeah. That's what it's all about, just finding the machine that you like the most, that does what you want it to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you can afford it, a couple machines.
I always looked at machines as the next one was going to be the cleanup machine for all my spots,
Right.
And I stuck with the Nautilus for about 8 years. I stuck with the Equinox for, I think, from like 2004 to about 2012. So that's another 8 years.
Oh, not Equinox. You said Equinox.
I mean, Explorer. I get them.
I know, brother.
Explorer XS.
Yeah.
But and that, when I bought that Blitz tool, I couldn't believe it. When I was watching those videos, and I thought, man, this thing, I'll be able to take this thing back to all the spots and find stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing I thought. This thing will definitely find something.
Yep.
And man, it was unbelievable. I was like shocked. Especially in my yard that one time.
Yeah.
Where I dug that first bullet. I dug it about 12 inches deep in a spot where I'd never found anything, not even a signal, ever. And, it was just clear as day. I just thought, oh my God, that sounds good.
Well, that's what kind of got me with, I was detecting the Toll Bridge property. I'm like, I know, if I'm not getting a signal of some kind of non-ferrous item, brass, copper, whatever, lead, that in an area running the kind of settings I was running, there's just either I'm not getting my coil over it, or it's just nothing there to find. And it when you have a machine like that, I'm not even bothering going to take the quest. I mean, I may try the quest. It's just not, because I know that a penny-sized target I can get at 12 inches easily. So you get into that mode where it's like, I've scanned this in two different directions. There is just nothing here to find. So I need to move to a different area of this property and try to find the activity. That's why I turned my discrimination down so low. I want to find the iron because I know that I'm going to have to, if I start finding iron, that means activity. And then I can work my way around.
Yeah, you start hearing it.
Right, you got to start. I wasn't hearing nothing, Craig. I mean, I was hearing a speck here, a speck there. Nothing repeatable, nothing, and everything I dug that I was just trying to see what it was a nail or a piece of iron or a piece of barbed wire fence. Nothing of substance whatsoever, nothing of period. I'm looking for, I was looking for something that, on a 200-year-old property that has history on it. I was
you're looking for scattered nails and stuff in the ground,
right?
Tell you that, there was a house site or something was there.
There was sometimes I was swimming for 15 minutes before I got any kind of a signal at all. And it's like I'm working slow. I'm trying to be methodical. I'm trying to make sure I keep the, good coil height and, doing everything I know to do. And if you're not getting a signal, well, you know what? I'm not going to hunt that area. I'm going to move on to the next little section and, maybe get into the woods. And, just kind of sporadically go around until I can find some kind of life out there, and go from there. Because you just don't know. You don't know what they did 200 years ago or even 100 years ago. You don't know where stuff was. There's no sign of anything. Anyway,
Yeah.
Sorry, my wife was making fun of me, but yeah, she hears me and I come in. What'd you find? I said, well, I got 2 shotgun shells, 2 22 bullets. I got this. Oh, that's it? I said, yeah. She goes, well, how deep were they? I said, oh, the 22 bullets I probably got 6, 7, 8 inches down. Well, there's nothing in that area. You need to move on. Well, she's right. If I'm going to dig a little piece of lead that deep, if there was any kind of 3-ringer or anything like that size of a penny or bigger or dime or whatever, I would have nailed the crap out of it at 10 inches. You know what I mean? Just so yeah, I'll move around a little bit. It's all sight reading and stuff, but it just kind of, it's a crapshoot. It can be a total crapshoot. And I'll probably end up finding stuff in a place where I'll probably say it on the video, I would have never hunted this spot. Looking at it, like it didn't look like anything out of the ordinary, didn't look like any activity, and that's probably where I'll find something. But I guarantee you, Craig, if I start finding stuff, it's going to be some good stuff. You know what I mean? You got that feeling about certain sites. You're going to find something really good. And
you're going to find the southern Fort Knox.
Yeah, Pauline says I'm going to find the southern Fort Knox.
But they already stole all the gold out of it.
Yeah, I just want to find some Spanish stuff. I mean, that's what I'm really starting to think now. I love to find. I'm near a river. A river runs along the whole length of the property. It's between 2 counties,
water.
And it's intercoastal water. Comes out of the Gulf of Mexico, or it flows through the Gulf of Mexico. Actually, flows north. I mean, it could be anything. There could be, it's 400 and some odd acres. So yeah, I mean, there could be very well some really cool stuff through there. I know they find arrowheads, they find all that stuff there. So yeah, I mean, I'll keep on hunting it and I'll keep on pushing. And, I can hunt that thing for 10 or 15 years, Craig, and not have every spot of it. So it's a place to hunt. It's going to test my skill. I know that. And that's okay. I don't mind a challenge. But, I would like to find something every 6 months or so. Anyway, buddy, probably wrap it up for tonight. Oh, wait a minute. My wife wants to say something.
Tomorrow is Flag Day.
Oh, Flag Day's tomorrow.
Please.
Go ahead and say it.
Think about respecting the flag, and even if you do it silently, thank all of those that came before us that make sure we had the right for you guys to get out there and do what you do.
Absolutely.
So, remember a veteran or a GI.
And we thank you for your service. That's for sure. Jay, I want to tell the guys too, and gals or whatever, families, there's a lot of VFWs around, American Legions, everything else, but they're out there and they do have a lot of activities that are open to the public now. And, there's a lot of, you have the Vietnam era, the Korea War veterans, clear back, and then you have the new ones too, Afghanistan, Gulf War veterans, everything else that are, young guys. We have a commander at our VFW post that's 27 years old. He's got back from Afghanistan. Great guy. I call him a kid because he's 27, but me and him get along great. But, it's nice to see people involved and, for something good. And, I'm actually part of the auxiliary for the VFW, and, it's a good association. It's great. And they do a lot for the vets, and they do a lot for, different entities. We even have a special needs thing going on now too, to help them out. And, it's a good way to get involved with the community. It's family oriented, and, it's a good place to hang out. So, be sure to check out your local VFW. I think you'd be impressed. And, some are big, some are small. So, just depends. Up where you're at, Craig, they're probably jamming up there. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably wrap it up for tonight, buddy. I'm gonna try to get out detecting tomorrow morning, and my wife is already heading to the bedroom, so I think it's time to go to bed.
No, my dialysis is going. It's kicking my butt.
Oh, she's on she's on this peritoneal dialysis, and it's kicking her butt tonight. So she's heading to bed. At any rate, Craig, we'll do the show again on Saturday night, and we'll get some stuff going during the day. I got a few ideas I got to talk with Craig about, though. some different shows and some shorter ones sporadically throughout the week. We're still kind of talking about it a little bit, but we want to start doing that. Be some fun, and not necessarily long ones, 10, 15, 20-minute shows. That's what we're thinking about. Hot topics, there we go. What do we call it? Coffee time, coffee relic hunting, morning cup of joe. So, death by coffee, there we go.
The angry bean.
The angry bean, there we go.
I got the Death Wish coffee.
Death Wish coffee, yeah. Death Wish coffee time. Oh, shoot.
Keep you alert.
Yeah, no doubt.
Won't fall asleep during the show, that's for sure.
Yep. All right, shoot. All right, Craig. Well, I'll talk to you again on Saturday night. Y'all be safe out there. If you can get out detecting, do it. And if you can't, well, watch a video and live it through their eyes or through their video. Guys, get out there, keep digging. God bless.